So notice even with our loading screens, we're definitely getting a sense of what Bioshock is going to be like. We get this very retro looking album with these sort of old sepia colored or black and white monochromatic images. In 1960, our setting, Mid-Atlantic.
They told me, son, you're special. You were born to do great things. You know what? They were right.
Okay, so that was our first example of one of our environmental storytelling techniques, enacted. We basically are introduced to the player whose role we're going to take up. We're going to act out or enact this protagonist's story in this game. Okay guys, so we've surfaced, again, enacted. We are stepping through the events of this character's life. And as I look around, here's another technique, an art technique that we talked about. We are being surrounded by, first of all, the plane that's crashed, that's sinking, and then this ring of fire, this burning fuel. That's basically enclosing us in a limited space, but it's also going to act as a frame. If I look up, I can see there's this very tall monumental structure, and I'm guessing that's where I have to go, right? Because it doesn't look like there's any other visual cue for me. So I'm going to go there, and it looks like there's a gap. So again, look at this and look at the drama that using a frame, a very creative frame like this, that's totally part of the story, is going to help with my experience of this environment. So here I go swimming at this incredibly fast pace. It's like I'm skimming on top of the water. They have a nice little trigger there, add to the drama with this plane. Playing this for the first time, it's a little bit scary. Flying away from that. So again, notice I'm swimming up to this tall architectural thing, tower, but I don't see a doorway directly, but I do see stairs. So again, adding to the mystery and the tension, we've got some fog, I can't clearly see it, it's obscured. I know I'm going up, I know I have to go here, it's pretty obvious, but I can't clearly see where I've got to go. So here we wrap around, and here of course the door is not on the front facing us, but it's on the other side. Now let's take a moment and admire these doors and these lights. Very monumental. I can't fully make them out because they're open, telling me I need to go in, right? But also notice the art style. So Bioshock is super famous for the way that it's brought in the art styles of American Art Deco. So, which is the art from about the 1920s. It lasted into the 30s, maybe 40s, but mainly we think of it as associated with the 20s and early 30s. This was a time, the Roaring 20s, when we think about pre-Depression America, where capitalism is just running rampant. It's kind of every man for himself. There's a focus on material things, right? And the art style reflects this. It's very pretty superficially. It's all about decoration, and excess is sort of reveling in expensive and beautiful materials, but also combining industrial themes with high art, right? So we have industry and art combined. So these thematically support what's going to go on in Bioshock, but they also are using one of our environmental storytelling techniques, which is called evoked narrative. So they are evoking all these cultural associations and things we know, without even knowing we know them, about our past and about America in that time. Almost think of it as, and it ties in with the fallen grandeur of what is Bioshock, right? This connection to the past. So using an art style to evoke our own cultural knowledge, we bring in all that knowledge and it helps us understand and make sense of this world in a way they don't have to tell us, right? They don't have to explain, we don't have to read a note telling us what Art Deco is, right? We just automatically kind of clue in to that meaning. All right, so I'm gonna go in. Notice that it's dark in there. Tension, I can't clearly see. I'm gonna hit, now that I'm in here. Whoops, suddenly the lights go on, I hit a trigger. The doors are closed behind me. Okay, very, retro America. And we've got this huge statue that's just looming over us, right? With this banner that reads, "No gods or kings, only man." So when we walk up, there's a plaque here. And it's, in what country is there a place for people like me? Signed, Andrew Ryan. And Andrew Ryan is the founder of Rapture, so he's kind of the guy who's planned this whole experience. Now notice, we step through that door, the door shut behind us. Again, part of one of our environmental storytelling techniques, enacted. We are actually, like we're the actors, we're stepping through what's happened to this character. And these scenes are being set up to help us step through. And they're making it dramatic by not letting us know what's coming next. As in real life, or this character, if assuming they were real, doesn't know what's coming next. So I actually have played this many times before, and I know what's coming next. So I'm going right where we need to go. And everything, notice all the artwork is really supporting these themes. So incidentally, the plaque and the banner are examples of this embedded narrative. Embedded narrative is the third technique, where we actually place bits and pieces of the story within the environment. Now it can also be things that are fallen or broken, that let us know, say, of a struggle that's happened. It's things in the world that tell us about this world. Okay, so here's this bathysphere. It's kind of a, you can think of it as an elevator of sorts. It's going to take us to where we need to go. So once I pull this lever, we're going to start traveling, and we're going to get this little film clip, which is, again, you can think of this as an embedded portion of the narrative. It's a film clip, but it's going to give us this more understanding of this world. It's embedded information and story embedded in the environment.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose rapture. A city where the artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. With the sweat of your brow, rapture can become your city as well.
So notice the drama when the film stopped playing and all of a sudden that window opened up, but we didn't see Rapture at first. It was rocks. That was kind of interesting. Couldn't quite make it out. And then we went over the rocks and suddenly Rapture opened out in front of us. Now, Rapture was also modeled on early to mid 20th century Manhattan. So again, evoking these connections to this, the knowledge that we have of place. And we are enacting the protagonist's travel to the underwater city of Rapture. Even these ads give us embedded information, also evoking. They're really getting the most out of all of their assets. Okay, and that's it. That's all I'm going to play for just the opening